What's up, my friends? Happy Monday. We are sliding into Monday Night Football. Hopefully, going to win some money, maybe win some money back, or maybe dig yourself deeper into the hole if you don't do it correctly. I'm sure we have some members out there that are excited about Monday Night Football, but this stream specifically is for week 2. And how? We're going to be looking back at week 1. In my mind, I think it's very important to know what went wrong, what went right, but it's more important to know what we can do to take advantage of the things that went wrong and went right going forward. Knowing these things is only half of it. Being able to apply the information going forward is the more important half, in my opinion. Now, for Monday Night Football, if you're tuning in today and you're like, man, I really wanted some Monday Night Football content, I needed to make sure that I was prepared for the stream or for tonight's Monday Night Showdown. Well, my friends, we have multiple videos. We have a premium live stream. That's a premium members only live stream tonight. So you will have those. You'll have the projections, of course, the stacking tool, all sorts of stuff. So we've got you covered. And thank you to Fantasy Cruncher for the sponsorship of today's stream. And here's what they've done to help our members out as we support them. Every single one of our members actually ends up getting $20 to use on Fantasy Cruncher every single month. Thank you very much, Dave. And on top of that, my friends, if you already are a current FC member, you get $20 to use on FC2. The beauty of Dave and I being able to high five over things. It's pretty nice. It's a really cool relationship him and I have. And I'm happy that the members here and his members are all supported in different ways. So today, I want to show you guys using lineup study. I want to show lineup rewind. And I want to start off with the one freaking thing I always talk about doing. And my gosh, I can't remember to do it when it comes time. And I don't know if it's because I'm streaming and then all of a sudden I'm not streaming. And it's like, I had 2,200 lineups to create yesterday in that last hour before lock. That's a lot. Okay. It's a lot. And I feel like to an extent, it's like I need to start building my finals on Saturday night and only tweak Sunday morning if news like breaks my lineups. Like that's it. That is literally it. Other than that, it's like I think I need to just go Saturday night, several hours, put the time and effort in, and then that's it. Okay. Yesterday, there was some news that did change things. I would have had to have changed it at noon anyways after the stream. So it is what it is. It works out fine yesterday. But going forward, I think I'm just going to do it another night. Allie Bourne, what's up? Allie with a $12,000 hit over there on Super Draft. She is back, of course, smashing. Appreciate you. Adam, what's up, brother? FC equals best optimizer in the business. Pair it with Team Riser Fall solid gold. Ooh, yeah. I like that. What's up, CG? Good to see you, brother. Good morning, my dude. Okay, so here we go. You guys want to see what I could have done yesterday, and I'm too stupid to remember to do this. And I actually wrote notes down after I went through lineup rewind because I've done some of this on rewind before the stream. You can see I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like eight tests this morning I've done already. I spent a lot of time in lineup rewind. It really is the whole way I think I've gone from being like an up and down player to profitable for 3 years now. And progressively more and more money each year too. And I think that's because I spend more and more time in lineup study and lineup rewind. So hopefully this stream over today and tomorrow serves as kind of your door being opened for you. And I will greet you at the door and I'll tell you what to expect when you go inside the party room and all this stuff. And there's going to be a food display. There's a nice menu. We've got desserts coming out. But ultimately, if you want all those things, you're going to have to go get them yourself. I'm being serious. What I can show you today and tomorrow are going to be super helpful. But if you're really trying to be a long-term winner, you need to be a long-term learner, which means that you need to put some hours and some time into this stuff on your own before or after these streams. And this is helpful. This is helpful because you need to be able to see it being executed so that you learn. But then I want you to apply what you take today, and I want you to apply it on your own sessions. And I'm not trying to be like a shill or anything. I think that is just like one way. That is honestly probably the main reason why I have progressively won more and more each year. Honestly, I think that is literally it. I've done not much different from what I did back in like 2018 to what I've done over the last 3 seasons. other than spending time in FC, because in 2019, I formed a partnership with FC and, of course, started using their product like 24/7. And, of course, all of a sudden, I started becoming like a super serious winning player. I want today for a lot of people, and I want to say it again one more time, because so many people continue to overlook this aspect. The research you do all week, slightly irrelevant. The time you put into this right here is what changes your future potential. Okay? Your future potential. Right now, your potential is probably capped unless you get lucky. You put time into this, in a lineup study, and lineup rewind, you're going to raise your potential. I promise you that. Are you going to hit that potential soon? I have no clue. Time will tell. But you can raise your potential by putting in the time. Now, one of the things I've talked about for 2 years now, last year and this year, take the top 3 mother brother projected quarterbacks and just say, give me a 50 of each. That's it. That's all I want you to do. And I did a whole 2-week lineup study and lineup rewind series this August for all my viewers. I mean, we racked up 15,000 views between the 2 sites doing this. And I said it, and I made this proclamation. I'm like, I'm doing this year. Every week I'm doing this. And then week 1 comes up, and did I do it? No, I freaking didn't. I'm a major bobo. So here we are. Top 3 projected quarterbacks. Give me 35% of each, my friends. And that gives me a nice 50 lineup crunch for each person. And I crunched it out. And by the way, so I did all sorts of tweaks and stuff. I just wanted to test this morning, like what would happen if I had done this, and that, right? So yesterday I just loaded it raw, and I wanted to see what happens. Okay, this was my actual minus 405. All right, that was like full player pool, everything I had done prior. All I did, and then we are talking full pool, my friends. Like, I have tweaked nothing. I've just said, give me the best 4-player stacks I can around these 3 quarterbacks. I think they're all awesome. The probability of Murray, by the way, look at this, going, especially when he's healthy, going for like 24 plus, 100% through the first 8 weeks last season. Josh Allen through the first 8 weeks last season. All right, scored 34 of the 8 weeks. Patrick Mahomes through the first 8 weeks of the season scored 30 on 33 plus in 5 of the 8, and scored a 43 bomb. Now, we're talking about guys over the course of 24 games scored under 20 points 1 time. So 23 out of 24 slates, combining the 3 quarterbacks, they were under 20 points 1 time. And I could have looked at that yesterday and just been like, best quarterbacks with the best pass targets, the best stacks, and the highest upside. And what you know is the most important thing for me, the 5th one, the highest probability of hitting that upside. And all I have to do is look at who they are each week and just plug them in. Just plug them in. Don't do anything different. And there we go. That is literally all I just did for this crunch. And this is just asking, listen, this is the most bare bones stacking rules you can ask for. I did not limit the, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends from same team to 1. I didn't do anything. I just said, hey, FC, I really like the rise or fall projections. These are the 3 quarterbacks I'm using. That's it. Just give me 50 stacks of each. Oh, and by the way, I'd like 2 wide receivers and tight ends with each quarterback. And then give me 1 from the other team. And go. And it freaking makes bank. A 193.48 does very well. And I was looking at all these contests. It does very well in every single one of them. The only one it doesn't is the Crypto Punk, which basically I think there was only 2 caching spots. So screw that. It would have done fine in the Minimax. Did great in the slant. $2,000 won. The Millie Maker, the $100 Millie Maker, you win 11 G's. The $5 Millie Maker, you win 570, and so on and so forth. I maxed out this charity contest because I can't help myself. I figured if I'm going to be playing, $1,300 in play, $750 of it can go to Louisiana, right? Like it's a nice way for me to donate to Feeding Louisiana and have some action in the games. And it's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I did that one instead. Did limit my upside, but what the heck? This is just a better thing for me inherently to put my money in and feel good about. So it went great. But I didn't freaking do it. 2 years of doing this, of telling everyone, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing it round. Here's 3-player stacks, by the way. Let me just show you this. Mind-boggling that I can't remember to do this. So I finally wrote it down. And part of it is guys, I have so much to do on Sunday mornings. Like that 3-hour show is very mentally tiring, believe it or not. Like I'm exhausted at the end of it. I actually went upstairs, got a coffee, had a little lunch, came back down to crunch at like 12:05, had 2,200 lineups to create across 4 different websites, Yahoo, Superdraft, FanDuel, DraftKings, and I had like $3,500 in play, right? Like it was a busy last 50 minutes. So I forgot. I just forgot. So here are the 3-player stacks with this. And I have a thought about this of like why I think 4s are better. And then we're going to go look at some lineup study. I promise you that. I just wanted to lead off with lineup rewind, a little weekend in review for you. When you do the 3-player stacks, I don't think you're capturing the upside you need when you've already said, I only want 3 quarterbacks. Just 3 quarterbacks. That's all I care about. If you only care about 3, you're inherently saying, I trust these guys to have the best games, and I think they have the highest ceiling. So if they have the highest ceiling and you're investing in them as if they're going to hit that ceiling, why aren't we using 4-player stacks? So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to make sure that when I set up all my settings and stuff, which I will tweak, I'm going to pick my 3 quarterbacks here at the top based on the rise or fall projections, and then I'm just going to crunch asking for 4-player stacks. I'm not going to do much different. I will probably slap on some type of randomness because one thing I did not like this weekend was how top-heavy some of my exposures were. I'm probably going to want to have some randomness in there with FC Pro so that I can spread out my exposures a bit. I do want to spread those out. I might even cap my individuals at running backs and wide receiver at like a much lower rate. What rate? I don't know. Like maybe I can actually look at that right now. I was thinking like 35, 40%, something in that range where, I'm just spreading things out a bit. I think I need at 35 because I want to be able to stack the quarterbacks with their wide receivers correctly. All right, so like let me just try this real fast. This is a 3-player stack, and then I'm going to do the 4-player one more time. And I don't know. It could be the play. It might not be. What's up, Chappie? What's up, brother? Good to see you. Taking notes? All right, my friend. I appreciate you. Thanks, chaps. Let's see. All preseason, I kept telling myself contest selection, sticking with smaller contests, then got hyped about week 1 Sunday morning, entered the mini max. You're not alone, though, friend. I mean, we're all doing this. We're all doing it. I had Murray Hopkins lineup, ran it back with Henry, but trashed it, broke even with my other lineups. I hear you. It's difficult to stick with it, right? Prep for NFL season, throw all the notes away in week 1? No. Not at all. In fact, had I applied all the preseason notes to week 1, I just showed you I would have made money. That's a very callous comment to make. I feel like there's no that's just a subjective statement to make. What's up, fam? Did some rewind today. Should have stuck with top 3 projected QBs like we said all last month. And Pat Kingpin, my dude, said this 10 minutes before I started talking about this. And what do you know? This is the topic I wanted to start off the stream. And gee willikers, man, he found it. He saw it. I saw it. We're so dumb. We're so dumb. Do we not get in our own way? Let me calculate this with 4-player stacks now. Yeah, I mean, inherently, why wouldn't this work on any site, right? DK, FanDuel, Superdraft, Yahoo, same thing, right? Does not matter whatsoever. The concept is accurate. This is with 3 uniques. Hey, fam, give me a second, okay? I hear my son calling, and he usually doesn't call during his rest time. Appreciate you. Dad life is correct. Dad life is correct. Can't help it. It is what it is, you know? I mean, listen, I gotta be daddy. I am daddy. All right, so here we go. Let's go here. So I mean, look, that worked fine too. That worked just fine, just lowering the exposures. So silly. I feel so silly. And I mean, we even talked about this preseason too, like taking top 5, 20% each, top 6, whatever it is. You can just kind of, mess with it a little bit more. And we talked about it this way too, where we said that, like, listen, if one of the 3 studs pop off, just one, think about it this way. That means you have 50 lineups out of your 150 lineup file that have a massive opportunity of absolutely smashing if just one of the 3 explode. If 2 of the 3 explode, you get results like this, where you're winning $1,700. Not that one. You're winning $1,700 and $2,000 and $3,200, $1,400, whatever. Like, that's what happens. Okay. And if all 3 blank, well, then, my friends, you know what? You just weren't destined to win that week. How often did all 3 of the top projected quarterbacks bust last season? Well, what if you had just taken these guys each and every week and you said, they're on the slate, I want a third of all of my lineups invested in their stacks. I mean, you're sad. Like 20 points, 21, that's nothing special. But like 36, 28, 26, 24, 25, 25, 33, 39, 33, 43, 30, right? So like 5 or 6 weeks, okay, you're clawing to break even. Maybe this week you definitely got thrashed, went 0 for 50. This week got, is that Pro Bowl? You didn't do well, whatever. But then you're talking like 9 other weeks where he scores 30 to 43 and you have 50 lineups going towards the top of the standings, like these ones, right? Kyler Murray, same thing. What if you had just taken him, especially when he was healthy last year, and you just said, he's healthy? Okay. Kyler Murray, 50 lineups. He's on the main slate. Jam him in there. Like, that's the theory, right? Stop fooling around and saying, give me 7 Joe Burrow lineups. Give me 5 Garoppolos. I want 12 Cousins lineups. Ooh, Baker could be throwing the football when they're in comeback mode. Give me 22 Baker Mayfield lineups. Listen, you did that yesterday and you put a total of that was 42. I was trying to do quick math. I think 42 total lineups. What a waste of time. Or 46 lineups. What a waste of 18 points, 18, 25, 16. It's like, how many, even Sam Darnold, right? Like, put money in him, whom I loved yesterday. And okay, great, 20 points, whatever. You're just not winning the slate. You might make some money, okay, but you're not winning the slate. The only people that will win you these slates are the guys with these elite upsides. And if they're scoring 36, so are their pass catching targets. They're going bonkers. Kyler Murray went off because DeAndre Hopkins went off. Christian Kirk being included. For the team that runs the most 4 wide receiver sets in all of the NFL, Arizona, Christian Kirk on the field, the entire time. Patrick Mahomes, literally, we talked about this one too. What if you just locked in Kelsey and Hill all year last year? We crunched that out. We tested that this past spring, all right, this past fall, and it was amazing. You could have done that for all 50 lineups every single time those 2 were on the slate together, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Like, out of I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was like 6 main slates or so that those 2 were both healthy at the same time that Mahomes was on the main slate. You got to remember 5 of his games last year were primetime games. And then like they both missed a couple games. So it might have been like 8 or something, but like 75-80% of those games, when they were both healthy on the main slate, he goes off. And it's just because one of them is always going nuclear and the other one really doesn't ever really dud. It's like a bad game by Hill's like 14 points. Okay. But if you did that, Kelsey scored 32, right? So you paid for them and you got a combined 47 points. And then there's some slates like yesterday where they both do phenomenal. And you're talking about, a 62-point total between the 2 of them, and Mahomes in there for 36. You've got 99 points between the 3 players. Who cares what it costs? You got 100 points from 3 guys. Yeah, listen, we're still talking. That's still going to be like an outlier most weeks, right? Again, we just want as many successful lineups as we can screaming towards the top of the standings. Just take these top 3, take these top 5, whatever it might be. throw most of your investment behind them and just let it rip. Let's take a peek at some lineup study at this point, though. I thought that was very important to talk about. Oh, number two. One other thing I talked about is DFS traps. How to identify them. Now, I talked about this on the Sunday morning show. I talked about it ad nauseum on the Donuts playbook for the Saturday video. So if you did not watch the Saturday video, look at my Saturday lineup, the construction, my notes, and all that stuff that I wrote in there. This thing took me 3 hours to produce. I want you to look at it in week 2. Because I was talking about this and that. I was talking about it in the Sunday morning stream, that when you've got guys like Callaway who are going to be quite chalky, okay, but there are other fine options at very similar price points, there's really no need in those large tournaments to be using the chalkiest option out of the bunch. You've got a bunch of players whose range of outcomes is somewhere in here like this, right? They all have the same floor. They all have the same ceiling. All right, maybe it's like a tiny little adjustments, but like nothing earth-shattering or groundbreaking to the point where like you got to have this guy because his ceiling is this. It's like way over here, right? No. Their range of outcome, or maybe you need it like this. Their range of outcome is their range of outcomes like all in the same vicinity, right? They all have a floor of like 3 and a ceiling of like 20, and the probability of hitting those is very similar. Okay, you've got one guy in that zone that is 23% projected ownership. You got another guy who's 7%, and they're in the same little range of outcome bracket. Take the guy who is lower owned in large tournaments. We're talking small field tournaments, less than 100. Go ahead, jam in Callaway. I don't give a crap. Using them in cash games too. That's fine. Head-to-heads, whatever. We're talking large tournaments. We got to stop playing those guys. We do. We got to try to find a way to get off of them. All right. Look for those price point pivots. And the beautiful part is when you do a price point pivot to somebody else, you will allow yourself, again, like the one example I brought up all weekend was going from like Antonio Gibson to Chris Carson, Raheem Mostert to Chris Carson on Sunday morning after we found the news about Sermon. I posted that tweet. Dab and Puggle posted my tweet in Discord. Dab then said, if you're not targeting Kittle in the passing game and the passing game of San Francisco, you're doing it wrong now, as everyone's now targeting Raheem Mostert. You can then pivot off of or leverage that ownership and say, well, what happens if he doesn't do well? Okay, maybe the passing game explodes. All right, use the passing game. Garoppolo, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Like, Dab said that right in chat, right? So it's like leverage what the field will be doing in these large field tournaments. And in the smaller ones, you can eat it. If you got a serious FOMO, fear of missing out, use them there. Use them in cash. Look for those price point pivots. And the reason why I really like those price point pivots is because the one thing I feel like a lot of people have FOMO about when they use those chalkier options is that when they use them, they love the build. The entire thing looks awesome to them. The way they construct it with the certain high-priced running backs or paying up for Kelsey because they're saving so much money. All you have to do is, Callaway to Marvin Jones, Callaway to Rondo Moore, Mostert to Damian Harris, Mostert to Chris Carson, whatever. Whatever your pivots are, you do Mostert even just to mix in, save yourself like 8 to 10% ownership, something like that, whatever. When you're doing that, you keep the same exact construction from beginning to end because it's the same salary. So it's like you literally can keep the same quarterback, the other 2 running backs that you have. You can keep the other 3 wide receivers that are involved in your stack. You can keep the same defense, the same tight end. And all you have to do is change that one very chalky player to another lower owned player who has a similar range of outcome and a similar probability to hit that range of outcome. That's the one thing I want you to take going into week 2 when you guys are looking at the Donuts playbook, when you're looking at a range of outcomes on the projections and things like that. I really, really want people to keep that in mind because that is the difference from people who go out there and win a lot of money versus people who go out there and double up in tournaments. And that should not be our goal. Now, the one contest we looked at this past August when we were doing this was and let me look at the $40, was the $40 contest. And I'm going to see if they have that again for the main slate because there it is, the combine. That's where we see most of the pros in there, putting 6K up at the top, trying to win some money together. You can see, it's a who's who of names here. You can see who profited, who didn't, who did well, who did not. I mean, it's all right here for you. You can see every single name. All right. A lot of these names we researched, you know, like we were looking at McLovin a ton this offseason. We looked at Chipotle a bunch too. Ryder, we looked at this guy. Utica, like this is worth looking at. Who's the other one that we were looking at a lot? Oh, Petty Theft was another one we were looking at too, right? Anyways, let's do it now. So we're going to look at general. Oh, chat, my bad. I know I've just been yapping away today. Yeah, Sandman, but that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant if he doesn't get hurt. So, I mean, that's NFL, though. And that's also why in a super volatile sport, we're trying not to use these chalkier options when there's a very similar player. And I don't know what you mean about Chris Carson not having a range of outcome that's similar. It was absolutely similar. I mean, this guy has 20 touch potential, red zone potential, and PPR potential every single time he goes out there. And I believe in our range of outcomes on the site. I don't want to bring it all up. It's not about us. This is an FC stream, but the range of outcomes was super close. No, that's not true. Who says this? That's not true. We don't have much of a sample size on Raheem Mostert. The guy has had like 3 20-point games in his career. Chris Carson last year probably had 3 in the season. I mean, you ain't wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, we did that during our August rewinds, right? Chat, you guys are the best. NFL chat is my favorite. Yes, Fonzie. I was looking through chat, wondering if anybody's going to say that, and because I said that. I said that, and chat on Sunday. I'm like, it was a Friday night stream. I said I'm doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Okay, everyone under the sun said I'm paying up for CMC and Cook, and I'm paying down for the value wide receivers because that's the easiest way to build, right? And I said the opposite. I'm doing the opposite. I want to target Chris Carson. At the time, I said Mostert before we knew about Trey Sermon, and then I pivoted. I wanted Chris Carson, Damian Harris. I wanted Mixon in that range. Who else? Najee Harris was at 6'3". Aaron Jones did not play well, but he was like 6'8". I wanted that mid-tier. Chase Edmonds was one of them. Mike Davis, 5'4". I was on him too. I wanted that mid-tier of running backs rather than paying up at running back and pay down for value wide receivers. Listen, they're value wide receivers for a reason. They're all going to be volatile. If they weren't volatile choices, they'd be 5, 6, 7K. All right. So I took the volume running backs who were mid-tier priced, and then I paid up yesterday at wide receiver. Now, did it work out? No, it did not. I did not have a good day. I lost $400 out of my 1,300. That's to an extent an irrelevant fact to whether or not I feel like I created my lineups correctly. I just didn't have the right combination of players that reached the top of these contests I entered. And by the way, I enter all large field contests these days. All right. So it's going to be very top heavy. I didn't get one that climbed to the top, so I didn't win a lot of money. That's normal. That's going to happen. But I am all for fading volatile, pivoting off of volatile players who are inherently going to be volatile in the 3K price range because they're a volatile player, and that's why they're priced at the 3K price range, or they're a rookie in their very first game, or Marquez Callaway, something like that, who slid into the number 1 role and was going to get number 1 wide receiver treatment and get locked down by J.R. Alexander, who we talked about, Chris and I, on the stream. It's just like, I'm going down this path again of talking about it, but when you guys are doing this, you gotta be smart about like the field, right? If the field is all over a volatile player, don't be on the volatile player with them. Just do something else, anything else. I like this question, Eric. I would like to show you after this, in fact, because I do it real simply. I probably do it totally different than other people because I like to keep things as easy as it gets. So, like, let's say we had a guy like Callaway yesterday. All right. Matter of fact, I'll just scroll down to him because the price tags are, well, actually, let me sort by value. All right. So you got guys like this. All right. Elijah Moore. Oh, I can't put thumbs up? Oh, there we are. Elijah Moore, rookie game, unproven. Elijah, unproven with Zach Wilson. So I would maybe do something like this, right? His ownership's going to be high. His ownership's going to be high. You could do this. And then Marvin Jones, who's a very similar ownership, okay? And that he has been proven in the league. He has a similar opportunity going into the week. You do something like that. It's like, just go out of your way. Oh, maybe I'm going to pay up $1,000 for T. Higgins. Michael Pittman didn't work out, but he was one I mentioned being a pivot. Jalen Waddle was one that I was on, and he's a fraction of the ownership. So it's like, oh, Corey Davis was somebody I wanted at 4.9. I talked about Gabe Davis, talked about Diami Brown. So it's like, you can do this, and all you really have to do is you just give a quick thumb down. The beauty of FC is, like, if you use this thumb, what it does is it drops their projection by 8%. If you give them a thumb up, it increases their projection by 8%. Then you crunch it out, my friends, and like these, when you crunch them, if these don't lower to a level you're comfortable with, and if the thumbs up people don't raise to a level you're comfortable with, well, then give them another one. Look at this. Corey Davis, only 2%. Elijah Moore, still 18. Okay, watch this. So I'm going to give Corey Davis another thumb up. I'm going to give Elijah Moore another thumb down. Does this fix it? Do I start to get some Corey Davis now? Yes, I do. I'm at 28%. And look, Elijah Moore down here at 5. Well, look at Callaway. Callaway and Rondell Moore, they're still way up there. I'm going to give them a couple more thumbs down, another thumb down. Did I lower the projection again? No, Rondell Moore stayed there. Callaway went back up. And I'm just changing things one player at a time to just be on different people. And look what happened at the top. Now I'm actually getting more of some of these studs up here. I don't know how they all did, but I am changing things around. How'd Diami Brown do anyways? 0.8 points. Gee, Willikers. That's all, my friends. Hey, look at that. I made a little profit when the first crunch lost, 200 something? So that's it. That's literally all you do. All I do. I will use the FC projection to change things sometimes like this. Like if this is a really quick way to do it as well, think about it this way. If I'm changing his projection by 8%, all right, so we're looking at, I probably would drop it around like 1 full point. That would be 8%. 10% would be 1.06 points. All right. Sometimes you could just do this. If you see FC being lower and you're like, I just want his projection lower, hit this little X and I'll have this. So like when we go back to rewind, sometimes you'll see some of these guys will have the same projection as FC, and that's because I've lowered it. Or let me see another one. Like, let me see if there's one that I would raise. Like Jalen Waddle, right? Like ours is 9.69. FC had him at 10.3. And I want to give him an increase. I'll just do that. Okay, that's another way I do it as well. All right. Anyways, let's go look at lineup study. Oh, man. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here on Monday. It's kind of wild. I wondered how this Monday stream would get. What type of people show up? We haven't done these lineup study streams on YouTube ever before, so this is fun. I appreciate you. 70 people on YouTube already. The heck? You guys are the best. 24 people like the video already. I love y'all. If you could just hit that like button on your way out today. You don't have to do it now. Just hit it on your way out. I appreciate that very much. It's very helpful. We gained like 80 followers this weekend. So thank you very much for that. It's very helpful for us long term. Dude, that's a really kind thing to say. I resubbed because the way you break down everything makes you better at the game. Cannot wait to get working on week 2 and beyond. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I always like talking to you. I've talked to you over in the FC Discord as well. Seen you around the block. So thank you very much for our support, man. We'll see you in our Discord too. All right, so we're looking at the pros. We're going to look at some of their usages. We're going to see where they are, see where the pivots were. And you could see, 2 of the top quarterbacks owned right now are basically, they were in our top projected guys. This is the same. Nope, Wilson was in there instead of Hurts. But, 5 of the top 6 projected. And now look what the pros are doing, okay? Let's focus on this right here because this is actually what sent me down this research path last year was what are the pros doing? And when I was looking at their ownerships, one of the best, one of the best, one of the best. All top 5 owns. Then our next 4th projection, 6th projection, 5th projection. You see guys with $6,000 in play have said to themselves, I'm not putting much money on Joe Burrow's knee. I'm not putting much money on Ryan Fitzpatrick's beard. I'm not putting much money on the babyface assassin out here for the New York Jets. I have $6,000 invested. I want to make sure that I am capturing the highest upside based on the quarterback stacks themselves. Murray to Hopkins, Allen to Diggs, Hurts to Devonta, Tannehill to Julio and AJ, Mahomes to Kelsey and Hill, Wilson to Lockett, Wilson to Metcalf. They have said, give me the best. I want the best. Look at Matt Ryan. He made it up there. And why? Because he had easy targets, going into it. Guys that we thought would be target hogs, Kelvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. It was an easy pick. And on the other side, you could run it back with Devonta Smith on the other side of this game. So it's like pros are in this and they're saying, I just give me the best. I want the best. Look at how low the ownership is on the rest of these players. Why are people investing into these players? The probability of them hitting 35 points, which you need them to, 30 points, is very low. Now, the one thing that stood out to me here when I looked at this last night or this morning before my stream was this right here. Now, we're talking a 5,800 person tournament. 22%. He was the second highest owned running back. I fully was prepared to come into this seeing James Robinson, Mike Davis, Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson, Najee Harris. The guys I was on, honestly, Damian Harris, Chris Carson down here at 3%. I fully expected all of them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was another one at 6.4. I fully expected all these guys to be higher owned in this tournament and Raheem Mostert to be lower. But you see, and I'm bringing this up because I want you to understand you're not alone in making these mistakes. You're not alone. And this is how hard it is for these guys. Now, the one thing I do want to look at next is some of these pros that did well. And I want to look at what was their exposure. Did they get off the chalk or did they eat that and just get lucky? Okay, so we're going to look at that one next. Value. They just ate it. Studs and duds builds. Devontae, Diggs, Ridley, Hopkins, just jamming in the studs. I bet you we see Kelsey at 30-something%. 18. Pitts was 32%. What a trap. Isn't this crazy? Like this, you should feel better about yourself if you're watching the stream today because you are watching a lot of people who have a lot of money in play making the same mistakes that casual people play. Why was there a 21% ownership on a min price 2K Falcons when they were going to be that highly owned? Like, my goodness, there were so many phenomenal pivots in week one, all under $1,000. You could have played any number of the pivots. Craziness to have that much ownership on a super volatile pick. Noah Fant, he was the guy in my write-up where I said play Noah Fant over Kyle Pitts because he's 4.3K and that's a direct price point pivot. He was 2% owned. I don't know how he did. Let's take a peek. Fant scored 12. What did Pitts score? 7. And we talked about this yesterday too. Your pivots, everyone thinks pivot. You got to make a pivot. The pivot has to go for 35 and the guy you pivoted away for has to dud. That's not true. You want to see? So a third of the entries here had Kyle Pitts with 7 points. All right. So let's just use the number 100. Let's pretend there's 100 lineups in this contest. 32 of them have Kyle Pitts scoring 7. You and one other person in this tournament had 12 from your tight end at the very same price point of 4.3, 4.4K. So you and that person are 5 points ahead of 33% of the lineups. That means those 33% of the lineups have to make up those 5 points elsewhere, or you somewhere in your lineup have to lose 5-point lead against that person. You make little changes in your lineups. And it doesn't mean you have to go from one really great player, can't miss, to a turd like Anthony Ferkser or Tyler Conklin. Like, you don't need to do that. All you got to do is look for a price point pivot to somebody a little bit lower owned and hope they outscore them by a few points. A lot of little pivots add up in the long run. Kyle Pitts to Noah Fant yesterday was a 5-point difference. You and one person out of 100 would have been ahead of 32 people by 5 points. Now, what happens if you did that at defense too? And you said, wow, 21 people had the Falcons. I'm going to go with the Texans. All right. Or I'll go with the Eagles in the same game. Okay. So 21% of people got how many points they did, 4. And then you and all the Eagles people. Oh, by the way, you're the only one. They scored like 14 points, right? So there you go. It's like you've got a You've got a 10-point lead at defense over 20 people now. You've got a 5-point lead over 33 people at tight ends. It all adds up. It all adds up over the course of the rest of your lineups. All right. Let's look at our stack structures. All right. So out of all these people who ran out their lineups yesterday, 23%, a massive amount of people went with 3-player stacks. This is shocking to me. We have 14.4%. That is the second most stacked in here. We have quarterback and just a wide receiver with no bring back, no run back stack. The third highest is the quarterback, 2 wide receiver, and 1 opponent. I would have thought this was going to be second in 2021. I thought we'd all be here at this point, even potentially having this be up closer to this number. But listen, this still means there's an edge. Again, we've talked about this before. Larger tournaments, you're trying to get to the top of them. They're very top heavy. What do you need? More correlation. You want more eggs into one basket rather than spreading all your eggs out across all sorts of different scenarios having to come to fruition. You invest into one game, 1 4 or 5-player game stack, and if it hits, you only need to have 3 other positions do well because you've invested 65, 70% of your lineup into one scenario come to fruition, a shootout of some sort. All right, let's look at individuals. All right, so second place, Cheese is Good, has 11% on the Falcons, Chalky. Kyle Pitts is highest owned. Callaway, Elijah Moore is highest owned. I mean, on the chalk and still did well. Off the Mostert, Chuck. Did well there. Doesn't even have him in his player pool. Oh, there he is, down here. 7 lineups. Quarterbacks, look at that spread. Holy smokes. One of the things I want to look at today is the spread of these lineups. I want to look at their stack types, actually, too. So here's your stack sizes. Looks like we have 2 all the way to 4. So between 2 and 4. No 5-player stacks. Two and 3-player stacks, a few 4s. Here's an unstacked Kyler Murray. Let's look at his exposures here for losing it all. Kyle Pitts, highest owned again. Hi, my goodness. Callaway, 45%. Ooh. See, I want to see which stud, which pro has only like 5 quarterbacks listed. Off of the Mostert train at 8%. Tighter quarterback pool, which I would expect with only 75 lineups. 3 and 4-man stacks here. Spread out exposure at quarterback. There we go. We got some price point pivots in here. Mixon, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson. Mostert's down here at 8%. Marvin Jones, Callaway, Higgins, Moore. Just grab the value and slammed him in there. 44% Kyle Pitts. Was I the only person not on Kyle Pitts yesterday? There we go. Get off the volatile defense, too. Defense, tight ends. These are volatile positions to be eating chalk. It's hard, though. I know I messed up yesterday, too. Here we go. 6 quarterbacks. 139 Kyler Murrays. Whoa. At this point, why not just run 150 of them? What in the world? Not a single exposure to Mostert. I like this. I don't know who this is, but I really, really like their pool. Low on Pitts. That's high, 38, 25%. But he's got other guys up there. Low on Mostert. Didn't even make his pool. Oh, my gosh. 8 to chalk defense at 48%. I think he did all right, though. That's pretty good. Actually intrigued. Like, how would we have done with our projections had I said minimum 3-player stack? Kyler Murray, 139 lineups. Do my normal here. the next iteration of things. Just pick one quarterback and go. Let's ask for just 3 player stacks only. Well, minimum of 3. Oh, man. Plant that flag. That's right, Fonz. I mean, that's a good week. This is a good week. Plant the flag. Maybe that's what we should be doing in 20 max. That's a really good point. Holy smokes. Like, this could have been our day. You kidding me? Takes a little money to make money, though, my friends. Let's look at 20 max. Oh, that's beautiful. Man. All right, let's keep going. Got 3s and 4s. A lot of 3s. Mostly 3s. A couple 2s. Very spread out. A quarterback. Off of Mostert for the most part. Good job. He did it. He did a great job. Pivoted off of Callaway. Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore, Terrace Marshall. He has exposure. Looks like he capped them at 15%, by the way. So using the caps, all right, individual caps. Otherwise, how would all these guys get 20? Look, I mean, literally every single one down here, 23, 23, 23, 23, 23. So he went through and he said, I want some exposure to these super volatile, low-priced value options at wide receiver, but I want to cap them so I don't have too many. All right? That's what that means right there. That's like glaringly obvious. 23 each. And then look for pivots. Here's the pivot. Michael Pittman, 38. St. Brown here, 10%. Zach Pascal, brought him up too. Wish I played more. Devonta Smith. Let's see if he's off Pitts. Judging by what he did with wide receiver, I bet we see a cap of Pitts around 15%. Nope, 31. Kelsey, Kittle, Hawkinson, just taking the highest ceilings after that. And then off the chalky, high owns Falcons. Good job. I don't know who this is, but good job. All right, let's see who else we have. Chipotle, how'd you do, pal? 3-player stacks. Got some 2s. A lot of 2s. 2s with Mahomes, 2 with Hurts, Wilson, Allen, all mobile quarterbacks. 4-player stacks, Zach Wilson. Really spread out his quarterbacks. An interesting amount of exposure to super volatile options. Look at this. Mostert again, way down here. What's the reoccurring theme we have here? Well, yeah, duh, Adam. Of course. No one's putting $6,000 in one tournament if they're not a professional player. Well, I mean, it's a reoccurring thing we're seeing here. And a lot of these guys, as soon as Mostert became chalk, what did they do? They pivoted. I am seeing quite a bit of exposure to the value options at wide receiver, though. And Kyle Pitts, this is good to me. That's a good job. Making sure you're just not moving with the field. Like, he's underweight on him. He was 34% owned, right? So he's underweight. Same with the Falcons. Anytime I see them under, it makes me happy. But some of these guys just ate that 2K price tag. They're like, whatever. If they do well, great. If they don't, okay. Stack structures are all the same. They're all 3s, 4s, a couple 2s in there. I'm really trying to see if any of them keep it tight at quarterback. They're mostly spreading out their exposure. If you guys noticed, the quarterbacks, a lot of these caps is like in the 20% range, like high 20%, like each of these guys. Look, quarterback, 18% highest owned. 10% highest owned quarterback. This guy went crazy, almost locked him in. 11% quarterback, 29% quarterback, 12% quarterback. I mean, they keep it low. I mean, they're spreading out exposures. That's one of those things we covered this past fall during our 2 weeks on lineup study too, is when we were looking at these pros. What did we say? What did we say? Out of the 12 weeks we did or whatever, it was like 10 out of 12 weeks, these guys spread out their exposures like crazy. And then we always would have a couple guys in here that would be like 60%, 50%. Everybody else super low. Matter of fact, let's go straight down through this. Wide receiver, highest owned, 50%. Running back, 64. Running backs here, 30%. Wide receivers, 25%. His are going to be high because he's stacked all one player. Najee Harris, 38% highest owned. Wide receiver, 26%. So remember how I let off the stream capping my exposures at 35%? I mean, almost every pro right here that we just looked at, super low. I mean, Cheese is good, took second place. 17% was this highest owned wide receiver. Running back, 22% owned. Like spreading it out and hoping you get that magic bullet like this. Hurts, Devonta, no run back. Henry and Taylor did not do anything exceptional, but Corey Davis did well. Marvin Jones did well. Hawkinson erupted. Deebo Samuel went nuclear. This is confusing. Maybe, Fonzie, you can tell me. Cheese is good here. Cheese is good here. What the? Here's Utica. Look at him. Quarterback spread out. Less than 20%. Again. Running backs, highest owned, 33%. Wide receivers, 28%. Tight end. All of a sudden, Pitts goes up to 47%. And then off the Falcons, chalk. Where's Mostert at? Way down here. 2 lineups. So I'd say 6 of the 7, 8, 6 of the 8. 6 of the 8 pivoted off of Mostert the best they could. Like really kept his ownership. That's all. This is awesome to me. This is awesome to me. Yeah, everybody, I feel like all these guys are basically flat capping at like 50, maybe 40% or so. And then individual on certain players, like we saw with bro, or whatever. Those 5 value wide receivers were capped at 20, whatever, 15% each. So like Marvin Jones, Callaway, Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore, and whomever the 5th was. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Terrace Marshall. They all had 23 lineups each out of 150. They were all at 15%. So they were individually capped, while the position itself looked like it was capped a bit higher. This will be the last one. All right, 26%. That is one of the higher quarterback exposures we've looked at. That is one of the higher quarterback exposures we've looked at. Most of these pros here were like 18%, 17, 12, 15. Look at this. Again, look. Does anybody feel like they're looking at this and they're like, 50% global cap is too high? I mean, outside of Terrace Marshall at 42, look at the next one, 30, and then down to 21%. Like super spread out. Jeez. Let me try something. Just going to emulate this real quick, okay? Give me a moment. Hey, I'm just going to put like a generic, I'm just putting in generic numbers. It is what it is. And then I'm actually going to tweak things in a second. So this is super low. These are super low caps. Like I would never do this. I've never done them this low, but this is kind of what I'm seeing happen. It's interesting, John. What I like about what you're saying there, my friend, is that let me bring that one up. I said flat caps at 5% higher than the highest owned player at a position. Individually adjust. That way I end up over or under the field on certain players. That's really interesting. Because that is a process that you can replicate weekly, right? And it doesn't take much of any brain power. It's just I've set it up this way so that I'm leveraging the field in small amounts no matter what. Huh. I like that, John. So what he is saying is this, like, let's say this is the ownership. We'll go to quarterback, 9%. So 5% higher, 9.8, 14.8% cap. And then individually adjust. So everybody would have a 14.8% cap. He goes through this one by one. He's looking at this and he's saying, okay, Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to bump him to 22%. Josh Allen down to 9, whatever. He'll go player by player. Highest projected owned running back yesterday was 18%. So that means John would have had them all start at 23%. Wide receivers would have been 27%. And then, of course, we're missing the manually adjust element of this strategy, which clearly is important. I doubt John's sitting here just eating Kyle Pitts value. Chalk. The way I know John, definitely not. Same with the Falcons. Porter likes to embrace volatility. That's why he wins tournaments. So, like a volatile team like the Falcons, maybe he's going 12%. Maybe he's going 5% down, right? So, Jags and all these other teams go 5% over, but the chalkiest goes 5% down, right? Let's try this with Pitts. Same thing. So, you're under what the field's going to be at, and you're over, potentially over everyone else. Am I understanding this correctly? So, like, who's the chalk? Okay, I want to be under them. Everyone else, I'm okay being over. Let's just try it. These guys are all flat ownership. Who cares? Easy to replicate. Oh my goodness, I almost choked on my drink. Woo-hoo-hoo! Look at how easy that is. I didn't do anything. I just raw crunched with that idea. Asking for 3-player stacks. John, there it is. Taking notes. Everybody should be taking notes. I get better all year, man. By the way, this worked in week 1 does not mean it's going to work in week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? People need to be mindful. This is 4-player stack now. People need to be mindful, okay? This is that worked in the first week. Nothing is finite in DFS. 4-player stacks not hitting as well. Oh, still did well though. And what if we just crunch? Don't even force a stack. I've always been intrigued to see if that works. Nope. Unique correlation. Screw that. Let's see. What did I max out yesterday? DK serves. How would I have done? All right. Okay. Hey, profit's profit. But the mini max, $7 profit. Shoot, I'm sure a lot of us will take a profit yesterday. The heck. Taking any profit we can. That was fun. I like that, John. Thanks for sharing that, man. Delete the stream. There's no need for us to delete this stream, is there? These are good for people. These are good for people to see, to learn, to understand. And I think at this point in all of our careers, I hope we all understand also that this does not mean it's working forever. If anybody's about to bounce, that's okay. Please hit that like button on the way out. Maybe come back, drop a comment. That stuff's great. If you want to check us out, again, teamriseorfall.com. You can use promo code NFL50. You get your first month for $15. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that coupon open for a day or two. We had enough people sign up. I'm going to give it another shot. So you can come join us for $15. You get $20 to the best optimizer in the industry, and we'll support you every step of the way. Thanks again to Face Cruncher for supporting the stream, for supporting us, and I hope you all have a good rest of the Monday. I'll see you at, let's see, 1 o'clock tomorrow, Tuesday. Also, a little house cleaning on the website. There's a private lineup building video for tonight. Projections will be updated later, especially if we get news based on Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake. All these guys will get adjusted. Darren Waller. What else? Oh, the private lineup building stream tonight with Team A for pre-lock. So the showdown lineup building streams continue. I think he's done an exceptional job with those. With those streams, though, I want you to also be mindful. If you are on a certain play, a certain strategy going into watching that stream, do not adjust it fully. Okay. Use that stream as like the cherry on top to what you're doing. Maybe add what you're hearing him do to your night, or just to have it be something that keeps the creative juices flowing. But I don't like, I heard somebody the other day say, I went into the stream with this plan and then I switched it up, last minute, and I would have won like $25 or something in my quarter contest, or the quarter max or whatever, which is a significant ROI for somebody who's only playing 25 cents. So as with any type of content you consume, all right, it can be a part of what you consume, part of what you put into your decision making, but don't have any individual piece be the end all be all, right? It all all the pieces make a whole. So you can have this, and if it's like the fourth time someone has said this, or you saw it on our projections, you saw it on our stacks, and then Team A then brought it up later, okay, A plus B equals C, okay, or A and B did not highlight that, but Team A did, so it stops and you think about it. So it's not a end all be all. All right, nothing should be. Jeremy, that's pretty cool, man. Hey, Fonzie binked the mini max last night. I love that. Grass, dude. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like button on the way out. Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, baby. Let's get better.